Good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. I, of course, am with Originator Success here with the Daily Mortgage Rate Update, the only place on the web where you guys get to join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, coming to you on Facebook and on YouTube. If you're here live, say good morning. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me. If you are watching on the replay, don't forget, give me a hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you are here. Feel free to jump ahead a little bit until we get into the good stuff, or go ahead and watch as we say hello to everybody. But make sure you do go ahead and give me that hashtag replay. Also, whether you're here live or on the replay, don't forget to give me a thumbs up on Facebook. Like the video or give us some kind of a reaction. Also, your comments help to build on the algorithm, get more people watching. So I always appreciate your help doing that. If you are on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Give us that little thumbs up notification on there. And again, make those comments. They definitely do help if you're here live or on the replay. So let's go ahead and say hi to the live folks. Who do we got here this morning rolling in? We got Mr. Colin Jordan. Good morning, sir. Great to see you here. Allison Foy, thank you for being here, as always. Mike Tebow, good morning, sir. Hope you are doing well. Dude, I got snow this morning. Let me show you. Got some snow. Let me show you the difference between North Carolina and whatchamacallit. This is the difference between North Carolina and Michigan, though. See, I get to look out and see some beautiful snow on the mountain. We got a couple of inches of snow. And then this afternoon, it'll all be gone. And it doesn't stay here. And I don't have nasty, ugly snow or 2 feet of snow. We just get a little bit. That is the beautiful, beautiful thing of being in the mountains. Quick move. Sorry, y'all. That is the beautiful thing about being in the mountains. One of the things that I absolutely love about being in the mountains. I'm playing with my stand here. There we are. So anyway, good morning, Yasmin Martin. Good morning, Rob Stewart, Amy Blauser. Great to see you here. Deb Dickinson. Good morning, Brandy Brickler, Mallory Fotiadas. Giddy up, Mr. Randy Teakle. Nicole Semerad. Good morning. Great to have you here. I think that's everybody, right? Ron Siegel, what is snow? Dude, you're missing out. See, they take everything away from you in California. In California, I heard snow is found to cause cancer, and that's why you're not allowed to have snow in California, Mr. Ron Siegel. Yeah, I will tell you that, though. What is snow? If we want to see it, we could just drive an hour. That is pretty cool, though. You guys can jump up in the mountains in Tahoe and everything. Lovely view. Thank you, Yasmin. I agree and absolutely love my house. Got the new office being built, though. Middle of next year, I should be up in my new office. I'll have a different view, a little bit higher up. Same view, but different view. You'll see. You guys will see. So good morning, Alexandria Villanueva. Great to have you here. Mark Clark, good to see you, sir. All right. Let's go ahead and get to There we go. Okay, that was not what I wanted. Sorry about that. Anyway, Jeremy, I've got great news for you today. Okay, it may not be like the world's greatest news, but it's pretty good news. It's okay news. It's better than bad news, right? So we're going to go with that. Let me go share my screen with y'all and show you what we got going on this morning. So let's start off with the technicals. Thank you, sir, for my Christmas hat. Mr. Siegel, for noticing. Starting off with the technicals, mortgage-backed securities are up 7 basis points to start the day, currently at 101.30. If we look down here, let's zoom in on the 48-hour chart. Oh, I went too far, and now it won't move. All right, hold on. I think if I do it too quick, it doesn't I got to refresh the page. There we go. Okay, so taking a look here, yesterday when pricing came out, we were down a little bit. We did improve yesterday on the day a bit more, and then a bit of improvement this morning. So we're actually up about 20 basis points from where we were yesterday, meaning if you take a look at rate sheets, generally you're going to be back where we were on Friday rather than being off a little bit on Monday, at least according to Mortgage News Daily. So just a little bit improved. Generally, we're finding rates in the high sixes, most rates being in the low to mid sevens, though, by the time you got your LLPAs and kind of reality. What rate are you quoting? I'm very curious. Let me know in the comments what kind of rates you're quoting, but generally, this is pretty average on what we're seeing here. As far as these gains, we could see some building on these at 10 a.m. when the JOLTS data comes out. JOLTS is Job Opening Labor Turnover Survey. We could see some improvement to that data as we could see some improvement to bonds which would help rate sheets depending on how that data comes out, or it could wipe away this big old 7 basis point gain on the morning. And you would see rate sheets very similar to what we had yesterday, maybe even still a smidge better. Interesting thing on the 10-year Treasury yield, though. Let me go ahead. Let me just pull some of this out of the way here. Let me show you. I am pulling this over. Now we're going to get rid of the Zoom window here. Bear with me a minute, y'all. Doobie-doobie-doo. Go back to this. I have to move this over first. All right. So I need to get this locked in so I can just pop this in like I used to. Bear with me. Almost there. I promise. Okay, there we go. All right, so taking a look here, 10-year Treasury yield 4.18. We would round up here. We are right below the 200-day moving average. Check this out right here. Now, this is a big deal. We were below it on Friday, but that didn't really matter. We knew that money was being parked on Friday. Yesterday, though, we started out above it, but we did close right below that 200-day moving average. I'm going to zoom in on this with the 3-month, and then we're even going to go to 1 month. So you can see right here, we were below that 200-day moving average. We closed below it. That's a big deal. The 200-day moving average at about 4.21. We closed yesterday at about 4.19, 4.20. Today, 4.17, below that 200-day moving average. Now, generally, if you take a look here, here's that purple line. We usually spend quite a bit of time below it, quite a bit of time, about a month above it. When you see a break through the moving average here, the 200-day specifically, we could see a continued trend. Now, here's the deal, though. There's no guarantee that the trend will be this far below. Remember, if the yield goes down, that actually helps mortgage rates and pricing, right? So we don't necessarily know that it's going to be down. It could be something that's more like this, where we're just kind of flirting below it. Now, even here, we went below it, and then we were back above it a week or two later. It never really went that much lower. I think even if we do see it stay below, I think we're going to see it flirt below here. We're not going to get too much below that. We're definitely not going to break down below 4. Even if we had a catastrophically weak jobs report on Friday. Remember, last month's jobs report was actually very favorable, showed weakness, and yet didn't really improve in bonds. We actually saw bonds worsen on the day. So I don't think we're going to see anything improvement. That's why my lock advice, it may be considered a bit conservative. However, I would be locking anything closing in the next 15 days. There's just too much risk. I mean, if we lose ground after the jobs data, we're going to go right into inflation data next to that. There's no reason to believe that the inflation data is going to help expectations of, what's going to happen with the Fed. Right now, Fed futures have actually improved a little bit. Let's hit some of the articles. We'll go over some stuff. Let's do the headlines. Hold on, I got to do my captions here. And let's see, we've got, let's take a look at the headlines here. We'll kind of go over this together. And taking a look here, Wall Street short sellers throwing in the towel. I mean, we've seen stocks just, the S&P, I think, has gone up 50-something times. It's hit its record 50-something times this year. So it keeps breaking up to new heights, setting new highs for a 4th consecutive week. And increasingly, the holdout shorts are capitulating, according to Chris Montague, one of the strategists over at Citigroup. So why do I bring this up? Strong stock market means you're not going to see super strong bonds. Bonds actually improve a little bit now when stocks do. We used to see money pull out from stocks, go into bonds. But generally with portfolio balancing, you tend to see bonds actually do pretty well and stocks do okay these days. A couple of other things going on as far as where we're at. There's really not a lot going on that's affecting mortgage rates directly. One thing I did want to talk about here was the Wall Street Journal article. Stock market today, Dow edges higher at the open. Investors raise bets on a December rate cut. So that is true. We have seen expectations of a December Fed rate cut go up yesterday. They were about 60%. Today, about 70%. Depending on how we go into that jobs data. If that jobs data does come in showing some strength, you're going to see this push up to 80 or even 85%. But markets are pricing this in, and so are mortgage rates. We're already expecting it. Governor Waller yesterday came out. He's one of the Fed members. He came out saying that he's leaning towards cutting again this month. He thinks that we'll see a three-peat. Remember, we saw the Fed cut rates by a half point in September, quarter point in November. Markets believe we're going to see a quarter point Fed cut in December. But after that brings us to 4.25 in January. Markets think we'll see a pause. There's less than a 20% chance, 20% expectation that we're going to see continued cutting in January. Even as we get into March, there's 10% that believe we will be there. Look at this. There's if we see that rate cut, it's going to bring us to that 4.25, and then expectations of where we're going to be from there by March. There's markets are kind of saying, hey, we think we could see another cut by March, but even this might disappear very quickly. We get some strong data between now and January. This is going to disappear. There's a lot of potential for movement here, especially as Trump takes office on January 20th, even though there's not going to be time for his administration stuff to take effect. You're going to see a lot of speculative movement ahead of time on that. So keep that in mind as you're looking at this. So overall, expectations are very much, these are the rates that we're going to see, all high sixes, low sevens. Hopefully we stay very much in that range. Again, with the technicals here, if we see the 10-year flirting with the 200-day moving average, staying below this 200-day moving average, that's going to basically help us be in a position to keep rates from moving higher, but it's not going to push rates much lower. Keep that in mind. There's really not a lot of reason to see rates move much lower from here. Not when you look at Fed futures, not when you look at what's going on with the other articles and the other stuff going on here. So let's see some things. Ron Siegel said, did I see the comments from Matt G about the drop in 2-year yield immediately following Waller's comments? I did not see that. In fact, I don't even know who Matt G is. I'll have to pay more attention. Ron, you are much smarter than me, man. Did I see the comments about the 2-year yield, drop in 2-year yield immediately following Waller's comments? What effect, again, that would just, we'd have to look at the inversion with are we still inverted with the 2 and 10? I'll have to look. What are our thoughts about a weak jobs report due to cleaning up seasonal adjustments are supposed to be removed by the end of the year? I don't know that they're removed. I thought they only vote on them once. They vote on them heading into it. And as far as, a weak jobs report, I'm not even going to throw my cool Santa hat, which you'll see now for the rest of December. I'm not even going to throw that in the ring with what I think the numbers are going to be. We've seen such strange behavior with all this data. I don't think there's any handicapping it for real. I don't think that we'll see that. We saw last month, with 10,000 jobs created. This month they're expecting 195,000 jobs. I think we could very well come in on that. Who knows what we're going to get? That's why locking loans is just a wise move, because we don't know. And last month, even with a negative jobs report, we saw just a very weak reaction with bonds. Tom said, you've told us that, Matt Graham doesn't like you. There you go. Yeah, mental block. That's it. No, actually I didn't see what Matt Graham said about it. I'll have to go and look up one of his articles. Thanks for bringing it up. I don't read a lot of what other people write, believe it or not because I don't believe in it or I don't respect them. I just tend to form my own opinions on things a lot of times. So y'all ask me, if I've seen what Barry did or what Matt did. And a lot of times I haven't. I don't watch them daily or read their stuff or, I just go to the main sources and look at different things. So that's there. And then Robert, should we expect 8s after this cut? No, I mean, we shouldn't. That's the good thing is that even, these cuts, the cut has already been put in. And remember something, generally when the Fed cuts rates, the argument would be that is going to encourage, economic growth, which leads to inflation. Inflation is bad for, if you want to collect money 6 months, a year from now, you want that money to be worth more, not less. If you have inflation, that money is worth less. If I lend you $1 and you give me that dollar back a year from now, that dollar has less purchasing power with inflation. But this is the Fed looking for a neutral Fed funds rate, a neutral level. And because of that, we are not likely to see the same reaction we would see in other scenarios when the Fed would be cutting rates. So keep that in mind. And that's why we're not overly, worried about it. Also, as we see here, like it says, markets currently indicate a 74% chance, which that's adjusted a little. Oh, there it is, exactly 74%. Let's refresh that and see. Nope, 74%. So spot on with that, because that's where they're pulling this data from anyway. They're looking at the CME stuff. Ron Siegel, I like to read other people and then see what the full story is from there. Yeah, I agree, dude, but wholeheartedly, I agree. I just don't make it a part of my day. And I also there's been accusations that I regurgitate other people's comments and commentary and stuff, and I don't have time for that. So I make my own opinions, but I agree. What do I see the difference between reading Matt or Barry or versus Wall Street? We're all aggregators. I absolutely agree. I don't disagree. So, like I said, there was just comments made about that I do that. But so anyway, enough on that. You suggested him to me. Yeah, no, there you go. Yeah. Because Matt is a super bright guy. So again, to answer Robert's question, no, I don't think we'll see rates that are going to move up. I mean, that's the good news is that, but it would have been so much nicer if we saw rates settle into the fives. I think that consumers we saw it. We saw it in refi activity. We saw it in other activity. Consumers were moving a lot when things were in the fives. They're not moving when they're in the high sixes. It's going to take a while to get used to it. It's going to make the beginning of 2025 a rough year. I don't think mortgage rates go down until we see a breakdown in credit and available credit, and the economy slows down, and if that happens, it might not even happen. There you go. All right, my friends. So anyway, that's it for today. What we got, we'll see where the JOLTS data comes in about 15 minutes. Tomorrow, we're going to have the ADP data. That shouldn't make too big of a difference. Thursday, we get unemployment claims, which seems to make a little bit of a blip in the mornings where it didn't used to. That comes out every Thursday. And then Friday, we got the big report. So my advice is to consider locking. There's not a super urgency to it. If we see bonds start to pull back from here, then you'll want to make sure you do take advantage of it. Remember, we only know that we are in a good spot after we've been in that spot. Also, take a look here. I mean, we've got quite a recovery from where we were at in October. Let me make this a little bit smaller so we can kind of see the dates. There you go. So take a look here at the technicals. I mean, the middle of October when we took that first breath, we're almost back up to those levels. Those were right around 101.50-ish, 101.60-ish. Right now we're at 101.30, right? I mean, we've really seen a nice recovery from the worst levels of October and where we crossed into November. It was only on November 18th, so about 3 weeks ago, that we were much, much worse off than where we were at now by almost 80 basis points. So this is a nice recovery. Is there room for some improvement? Yes. I mean, we could argue that the 100-day moving average, a screen line right here, could act as technical resistance, and we could talk about Fibonacci's and stuff. But really, I think even if we improve from here, I don't think we break above that 150-ish level for long. And I certainly don't think we're going to go higher than that. So I think we're just at a pretty good time up here to go ahead and lock some loans. May not be the absolute best pricing. We may see some slightly better pricing, but you only know that it was the best pricing after you've lost it. So I just think it's a good time to lock in some of those loans. Randy said, if the rate sheets reflected any recovery, they have, Randy, quite a bit. I mean, you look here, we were in the 7.25, 7.125-ish area. I know it doesn't reflect 7.25 on here, but most rate sheets. And then now there's, dropping back into the high sixes, and also what you should see a difference, not just on the actual par rate, but what you're able to get them with a little bit of points. And with the current environment, should somebody pay points? It's hard to say. I mean, the reality is we would expect that rates would improve sometime next year. How much and is it worth it? I don't know. And that's why I've been in the past, I've been very strong that no, I wouldn't pay points, and yet here we are with rates still in the same range. So, somebody that wants to pay points, and I'd be careful about how much, but you should see some pretty decent buy down rates with rate sheets and bonds pricing the way they are. So if that makes sense, let me know in the comments if that does make sense for you. All right, my friends. So, all right. Well, I think that's everything. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate all of you. So great to have you here. I got to remember to turn off when I change these little, what they call scenes. It throws the previous thing on there. Julie said, no, don't charge points. Even lenders are pricing higher because they think rates will recover. Are they? Are they doing that on rate sheets? Are you seeing that on general line rate sheets? Because right now, based on where bonds are at, you should be getting some decent buy downs. So if they're not, then you're right. Then they're definitely pricing because they don't want to take a loss on the loan. Because the way that rate sheets are actually the way that bonds are pricing, you should see a decent. So that's got to tell you something. And Julie Lawrence has definitely got the right idea with that one. So, all right, my friends, good to see you on this wonderful Tuesday. For those of you, here's my snowy view again this morning. Dun, dun, dun. There you go. Beautiful snowy mountain view. And on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. You guys, thanks again for joining me. Appreciate you. Have a great one. Bye-bye.